Hey gals and guys, I'm going to try another one of these, and this time out we're going to take a look at 10 cartoons that were made into live action movies. That's television cartoons. A lot of the characters in these movies will be CGI, but as long as there are live action elements, I'll be spotlighting the movie. I'll start by saying overall these movies were made for kids. This means anything adult critics had to say is pointless because they're watching the movie through their jaded adult eyes. I did my best to look at these movies objectively through the eyes of a child. Kind of difficult at 54 years old. I'll be more lenient on these movies than I have been in the past of others. There are rules for this video. So rule number 1 is that any property that was a cartoon before the movie is fair game. Dennis the Menace started off as a comic book strip. Dennis the Menace did graduate to animation, so that counts. Paddington originated as a book. Paddington graduated to animation before the movie, so that also counts. I am not touching on any mainstream comic book properties. Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Hulk, X-Men, and so on. They were all cartoons. Some of them were great cartoons, but those aren't counting in my universe. Maybe I'll do a separate one of those someday, who knows. The same goes with Disney live-action movies, although those were based on animated movies, so those wouldn't count anyways. I'm doing strictly television animation to live-action movies. And as I indicated, a lot of the characters in these movies are computer-generated. As long as there are live-action characters and live-action elements, then that also counts. Those are the rules of engagement, my friends. So now that we have those down, let's go ahead and engage.
Engage. Engage. Engage.
Data to bridge.
Engage. Engage. Engage.
Let's get the hell out of here.
And before I get going full steam, I just want to touch on the Flintstones. I want to mention the Flintstones really quick. I already went through that show to movie on my video TV's Greatest Hits, turned into entertaining movies, and I'll link that one down in the description if you want to check that out. All right, let's get her done. George of the Jungle is a 1997 American comedy film directed by Sam Wiseman and based on Jay Ward and Bill Scott's 1967 American animated television series of the same name, which in turn is a spoof of the fictional character Tarzan, created by Edgar Rice Burroughs.
George of the Jungle! George of the Jungle! Who faces danger with a smile? George of the Jungle!
The film stars Brendan Fraser, Leslie Mann, Thomas Hayden Church, Holland Taylor, Richard Roundtree, and John Cleese. It tells the story of a young man raised by wild animals who falls for an heiress and contends with the heiress's spoiled and narcissistic fiancé. The film was produced by Walt Disney Pictures and was released in theaters throughout the United States and Canada on July 16th of 1997. It was later aired on the Disney Channel in the United States on December 5th of 1998. The film received mixed reviews and grossed $174 million worldwide. And a sequel, George of the Jungle 2, was released direct-to-video on October 21st of 2003, a movie that I will never ever see. So in this movie, the lion, the elephant, and the bird scenes were all filmed with a mix of real animals and puppetry, especially for that fight scene with the lion and George. The scenes with the orangutan, a chimpanzee, and the capuchin monkeys, is that how you said that? Were filmed with live animals, but some computer work was used in the scene wherein the little monkey imitates George. So 4 male adult live African lions were used in this film. Joseph and Caleb's trainer was Charlie Sammut, S-A-M-M-U-T, of Salinas, California. How do you say that? Sorry about that, Californians. In Monterey Zoo. Sammut temporarily replaced Brendan Fraser as his stunt double for the attack scene. Fraser himself interacts with a stuffed toy of an adult male lion. The large gorillas who live with George were all costume actors who were Henson puppeteers. Their faces were remote-controlled animatronic heads, which along with that yak fur gorilla suits were provided by Jim Henson's Creature Shop. Other effects were provided by Dream Quest Images. The jungle setting was constructed on a sound stage in Playa del Rey, Los Angeles. The sound stage was 750 feet long, 71 feet high at the peak, and 90 feet wide, so it was pretty big stage. If you like ball and nut hits and dumb slapstick, perhaps you'll love George of the Dragon. Why did I put George of the Dragon? I actually wrote George of the Dragon. Let me try that again. If you like ball and nut hits and dumb slapstick, perhaps you'll love George of the Jungle. Now, this isn't Abbott or Costello or Three Stooges slapstick that can be humorous, because I do like Abbott and Costello, and the Three Stooges are silly. This is George of the Dragon. Why did I put George of the Dragon slapstick? I did it again. I wrote George of the Dragon again. Why did I write George of the Dragon? This is George of the Jungle slapstick. slapstick, which will make your eyes roll in disbelief on how unoriginal it is. It's pretty stupid. It's just your regular, he falls into a tree branch, falling off a tree, hits his nuts. He gets his nuts hit like 5 times in this movie or something like that. Now, I was going to write this movie off because the beginning was pretty stupid, but once George gets out of the jungle and into society, the movie gets 10 times better. It's kind of like your Crocodile Dundee, fish out of water kind of thing, your Pretty Woman kind of thing. It's been done a million times. But it was entertaining. Once he got out of the jungle, at least it came a bit entertaining. The movie's still dumb, but not as dumb as it was in the jungle. It's all right. And again, I'm trying to put it in a kid's mind's eye, and I don't know. It was all right. It was watchable. I made it through the thing, so I'm sure your kids will love it. Adults, you probably want to skip it, and unless you got kids you're going to watch it with. Dudley Do-Right from 1999. Now, these first 3 movies are kind of grouped together because they're all in the same show. They're all from the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. Dudley Do-Right had a segment. George of the Jungle had a segment. I forget the name of the dog and the boy. He had a boy, and the dog was really smart. Now, they did make a movie, but that was all straight CGI. There was no live-action elements in that, so I won't be covering it in this video. God damn it, I can't remember the name of that freaking dog. Mr. Peabody. Mr. Peabody. All right, now I remember. All right, so where was I? Dudley Do-Right is a 1999 American slapstick comedy film written and directed by Hugh Wilson, based on Jay Ward's Dudley Do-Right, produced by Davis Entertainment for Universal Studios. And once again, the film stars Brendan Fraser as the cartoon's titular Mountie, with supporting roles from Sarah Jessica Parker, Alfred Molina, and Eric Idle. The film was a critical and commercial flop, and yeah, I can see why. The film was shot on site in Quebec, Canada's Montreal, and Quebec City. Additional filming scenes were in Santa Clarita, California, in the fall of 1998. Dudley Do-Right was Fraser's second film, based on A. J. Ward's cartoon, 1997's George of the Jungle being the first, which we just discussed. Despite the different studios producing each film, advertising for Dudley Do-Right film made open references to this coincidence.
From the creator of George of the Jungle, and the star of George of the Jungle, and the acclaimed director who saw George of the Jungle, comes a new kind of hero.
The film underperformed at the box office, grossing $3,018,345 in its opening weekend, ranking 11th for that weekend, and went on to gross just $9,974,410 domestically against a budget of $70 million. Ouch. Double ouch. Probably most of that salary went to Brendan Fraser, I would imagine. In the theaters, the film had a theatrical short attached to it, and the version I watched had it as well. It was called The Fox, the Box, and the Locks, an animated short produced by Universal Cartoon Studios based on the Jay Ward series Fractured Fairy Tales, marking the first short based on a Jay Ward property since 1967. So if you're familiar with Fractured Fairy Tales, it's not any different than those. It's the same style in that. And I've never seen this movie. I didn't have much confidence that it was any good. I like Brendan Fraser. I like him a lot. I think most movies that he's in, he's pretty good. I liked young Brendan Fraser, and I like the reinvented Brendan Fraser of today. I don't know why the decision was to make this movie about vampires, but okay. The positive is the movie was so much like the cartoon, and so was George of the Jungle, and so is the Rocky and Bullwinkle, which I'm going to talk to after that. You can see a lot of love and nostalgia and care was put into this film to transfer it to live action. Adults may not appreciate it, but watch it with your kid or your nephew, or borrow the neighbor's kid and watch it with them. I'm sure they'll get something out of it. I'd be interested to watch it with a kid to see what they thought. Now, Brendan Fraser is just a likable human being. I think that helps him greatly with the characters that he portrays. And ignore the critics. This movie was made for kids and not for crusty movie critics.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him.
This movie is stupid. I wish I could say it was at least good for kids. See, I changed my opinion like halfway through this movie. I'm trying to determine if my kid self would have liked it, and I don't think so. This movie is beyond awful. Don't torture your kids with this unless they're really bad. If they were really bad, glue their eyes open and put this piece of shit on repeat. That will teach them. So the beginning was kind of promising, and then when it got to the ending, as it continued, it destroyed itself, and it was crap. The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle is a 2000 American live-action animated adventure slapstick comedy film directed by Des McAnuff and produced by Universal Pictures, based on the television cartoon series of the same name by Jay Ward. Animated characters Rocky and Bullwinkle share the screen with live actors portraying Fearless Leader, that's Robert De Niro, who also co-produced the film, Boris Badenow, that was Jason Alexander, and Natasha Fettel, Rene Russo. Can I say something about Rene Russo? Holy crap, I never realized how freaking skinny that woman is. Maybe it's just this movie, maybe she gained weight for other movies or something. She was extremely attractive and skinny, maybe a little too skinny, but I never realized that dress she was wearing was uber tight, and what a body she has. Beautiful woman. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, others starring in the film was Randy Quaid, Piper Perabo, P-E-R-A-B-O, I have no idea who the hell that is, Kenan Thompson, and Kel Mitchell. I have no idea who those people are. I know who Randy Quaid is. June Foray reprised her role as Rocky. She sure did. Well, Keith Scott, no relation to the original voice actor of Bill Scott, voiced Bullwinkle, and he did a great job. And the film's narrator he did as well. And he did a great job with both. The film also features cameo appearances and performances including James Rephorn, Paget Brewster, Janine Garofalo, and I know who that is, John Goodman, David Alan Greer, I know who that is, Don Nivola, do I know who that is? John Polito, Carl Reiner, Whoopi Goldberg, Max Grodenchik, Norman Lloyd, Jonathan Winters, know who that is, Billy Crystal, know who that is. Once I put their pictures up there, it'll probably remind me. The film follows Rocky and Bullwinkle, who are enlisted. The film follows Rocky and Bullwinkle, who are enlisting their help by. Are they enlisting their help or being enlisted? They're being enlisted, right? The film follows Rocky and Bullwinkle, who are enlisted to help. I'm going to rewrite this here. The film follows Rocky and Bullwinkle, who are enlisted by a young rookie FBI agent named Karen Sympathy to stop Boris, Natasha, and Fearless Dieter from taking over the United States.
Get on my back. I'll carry you down.
What about Rocky?
He's a flying squirrel. He'll manage.
Released on June 30th of 2000, the film underperformed at the box office, grossing $35.1 million worldwide against its $76 million budget, and it received mixed reviews with criticisms towards its writing, plot, and humor, while praising the performances, visual effects, and faithfulness to its source material. The film entered development at Universal Pictures in 1992, originally with Danny DeVito and Meryl Streep in mind to play the antagonists, Boris and Natasha. However, the film met with several lawsuits, production difficulties, and concerns about whether or not the film could stay true to the original animated television show. The film eventually continued, of course, because I watched it, and developed sometime later on. Instead of DeVito and Streep, we got Jason Alexander and the luscious, beautiful, sexy Rene Russo, who were both selected to play the antagonists. Instead, the film was produced by Universal in association with the sexy, lovely, beautiful Robert De Niro and his production company, Tribeca Productions. Oh, I didn't know that was Robert De Niro's production company. I've heard of Tribeca. I didn't realize Robert De Niro was involved. So in the film, both the visual effects and the animated services for the film were provided by Industrial Light and Magic. As you probably all know, that's was Lucas's baby. The animators took inspiration from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, great movie, to help incorporate cartoon characters in a live-action setting. Director Des McAnuff wanted to maintain the simplicity of the original characters, and he also wanted Rocky and Bullwinkle to move more three-dimensional, to go with the three-dimensional real-world space they occupy in most of the film. As a result, the animators adapted the characters into the modeling and movements of a 3D animation, but incorporated cel-shaded techniques to help maintain their cartoony overall rendering in their models. Interesting. I actually liked this movie. It was stupid, like George of the Jungle and Dudley Do-Right, but it did make me chuckle a few times. All three of these films are extremely similar, which I guess makes sense because they're all part of the same television cartoon show. These are all same of the same universe. All the same of the same universe. All in the same universe. This movie really amused me. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a dumb, stupid fucking movie, but it really amused me. There were actually scenes where I laughed out loud, which I rarely laugh at movies.
Bullwinkle, allow me to be Frank.
Okay, Frank. Allow me to be Bullwinkle.
I'm Cappy Von Trappman, FBI.
Thought you said your name was Frank.
Shut up, Bullwinkle.
Okay, Frank.
I mean, I'll chuckle inside, I'll smile, but never do I like laugh out loud. Maybe like The 40-Year-Old Virgin or Dodgeball or Airplane or The Naked Gun, something like that. I'll laugh, but beyond that, I don't really laugh at movies. And like I said, don't get me wrong, this isn't a great movie. There were just some lines that were unexpected, dumb, stupid, and funny all at once, and it just caught me off guard, and I chuckled at him. It's a good movie. I guess I'd recommend it. It's dumb. Realize it's dumb, but it's watchable. All right, let's talk about the Scooby-Doo duology. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but Scooby-Doo, the movie, is a 2002 American mystery adventure comedy horror film produced by Mosaic Media Group and based on the long-running animated franchise of the same name. The first installment in the Scooby-Doo live-action film series, the film was directed by Raja Gosnell from a screenplay by James Gunn and stars Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Matthew Lillard, Linda Gardellini, I think, Rowan Atkinson. Neil Fanning provides the voice of the titular character, and the plot revolves around the Mystery Incorporated, a group of 4 young adults and a talking Great Dane who solve mysteries, who reunite after 2-year disbandment to investigate a mystery at a popular horror-themed tropical island resort. Filmed in and around Queensland, Australia, on a budget of $84 million, Scooby-Doo was released by Warner Brothers Pictures on June 14th of 2002 and grossed $270 million worldwide. And the film received generally negative reviews from critics, but has amassed a cult following. A sequel, Scooby-Doo 2: Monsters Unleashed, was released in 2004. A third film was planned but canceled after the poor critical and financial result of the second. Principal photography began on the first film on February 13th of 2001 and wrapped on June 1st of 2001. Filming took place throughout Queensland, Australia. Spooky Island was filmed on Tangalooma Island Resort in Moortown Island.
I repeat, do not go into that spooky island castle.
Now, a clever man would put the poison into his own goblet because he would know that only a great fool would reach for what he was given. I'm not a great fool, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you.
You want me to go up to that castle?
Didn't you just hear what I said?
But you're scary. And you knew I'd do the opposite of what you said.
But you must have known I was not a great fool. You would have counted on it, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me.
So you told me not to go to the castle, so I would go up to that castle where you set a trap to capture me.
You made your decision then?
Not remotely. Because iocane comes from Australia, as everyone knows. And Australia is entirely peopled with criminals. And criminals are used to having people not trust them as you are not trusted by me, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you.
Unless you knew I'd figure it out. So you told me not to go up to the castle, so I would think that you wanted me to go, so I wouldn't go, just like you didn't want me to.
Huh? Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Wait till I get going!
You watch.
What in the world?
So it's the TV show, it's the cartoon, right? And critics can not like it, I suppose. They're critics, and what do we do with critics? Do we listen to them? Not usually. And if you like the cartoon, you like the movies. To me, they're the same freaking thing. You're not going to get great character development. You're not going to have integral drama plots or anything like that. You're going to get Scooby-Doo, and that's exactly what you got in both these movies. So I don't think the critics ever watched the cartoon, apparently, because they're one and the same to me. The only thing a bitch I have about this movie, I think Freddie Prinze Jr. as Fred was totally miscast. He doesn't embody the character like the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast was awesome. They were perfectly cast. The other members of the cast are phenomenal in capturing their cartoon counterparts. Not so much with Freddie. Maybe they picked him because they had the same name. They were both called Fred. That's a stretch, I suppose. Was Alan Ritchson around at the time? If you're not aware, he plays Reacher on the Reacher series. He's a big dude. Fred is a beefy guy. Prince is a skinny guy. Richardson is beefy guy. I think he may have been a good choice, but of course, we're talking years ago, right? We're talking the 90s, I don't even know what he was doing then. Just a thought. I didn't like Freddie. I'm not a big fan of Freddie Prinze Jr. I don't have a problem with Freddie Prinze Jr. Where did he come from? Well, his dad. I understand his dad was Freddie Prinze, but I don't know. I've never seen him in anything good. And he just doesn't embody Fred. He played himself, and the rest of the cast did an awesome part actually playing their characters, and Freddie Prinze Jr. played Freddie Prinze Jr. All right, that's my bitch. Anyways, I don't want to spend a lot of time on these movies. They were great. I loved them. James Gunn was a part of them. I love James Gunn. And they were stupid. They were humorous. They were Scooby-Doo. If you like the fucking cartoon, you like the fucking movies, like I said, they're the freaking same thing. Josie and the Pussycats. Josie and the Pussycats is a 2001 satirical musical comedy film co-produced by Universal Pictures and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Pictures. Written and directed by Harry L. Font and Deborah Kaplan, the film is based on both the Archie comic series and the Hanna-Barbera cartoon of the same name. Filmed entirely in Vancouver, Canada, the film features Rachel Lee Cook, Tara Reid, and Rosario Dawson, the lovely, luscious Rosario Dawson, so beautiful, as the Pussycats, with Alan Cumming, Parker Posey, Gabrielle Mann, Polio Costanzo, and Missy Pyle in supporting roles. Now, can I say, and I'll continue just a moment, this has nothing to do with the cartoon. I never read the comic book, but it's so far away from the cartoon. It really has, except for the ears they put on. They could have called it something else. They could have called it the rhinoceroses or I don't know, the giraffes, but instead of the Pussycats. But I guess it's an available IP. They might as well fucking use it. It has nothing to do with the cartoon whatsoever. And again, I never read the comic, so I don't know if one has anything to do with the other. Although the film's soundtrack album was well received, charting at number 16 on the Billboard 200 and quickly achieving gold status, the film itself received mixed reviews, but was a commercial failure upon its initial release. However, it has enjoyed a later success as a cult following. Now, this movie didn't have much to do with a comic book or cartoon, as I said, and that's its major downfall. Even though all these movies are not great, they all have one thing in common. They all do embrace the cartoon that they're mirroring very well. So, with all that said, and the criticism aside, Josie and the Pussycats as a movie is a good, solid movie. I enjoyed it. I didn't even know who Rosanna Dawson was around the first time I saw it. I did see this a long time ago. I don't remember liking it, but I don't remember disliking it. But I sure as heck know who Rosanna Dawson is now because I've seen her in tons of shit. Clerks, Star Wars, Daredevil. I've seen her in a lot of stuff. I mean, beyond geek stuff too. I've seen her in other things. And also an extremely young Seth Green, which I got a kick out of, showed up, and I don't even remember. I don't even think I know who Seth Green was at the time either when I first watched this.
All right, zip it.
You can't even
zip it. Zip.
Look,
ladies and gentlemen of the jury, exhibit A.
I don't think there's much wrong with this film. I think it shows you can make a good film, a decent film with women as leads if you have a good story idea and script, and definitely talented people in front of the camera and behind, of course, and respecting the material, not goofing all over the material. I'll use references Ghostbusters 2016, who apparently if you didn't like that movie, you're misogynistic and you were a woman hater, which had nothing to do with anything. It was just a shitty, terrible movie, and none of them took it seriously. They all wanted to be funny, and they all wanted to be the same character, and it was just a terrible shit show. This one, don't even call it Josie and the Pussycats. It doesn't even need to be called that. It's a decent film. It's not great. It's not spectacular. It's not Oscar-worthy. It's none of that. It's a good film. It's just a brainless, good hour and a half, and that's the great thing about all these movies. I think they're all about 70, 80 minutes long, so it didn't take me a long time to get through all these. If you have a good story idea and script and talented people in front of the camera and behind, of course it's going to be a good movie. This is a fine movie. I liked it. I was entertained. It did its job. Will I remember it next week? Probably not. I don't remember it from years ago when I saw it. I gotta recommend it. I'm not highly recommending it, but I'm recommending it nonetheless. It did its job. The characters played it straight. It was a silly, silly movie. It was a silly script, but the talent behind it. It was the talent that pulled the movie off. It was the talent that entertained me, and it was the talent as to why I'm recommending this film, because I think it's worth a watch. And speaking of talent, for a goofy-ass movie, let's talk about Popeye. Popeye is a 1980 American musical comedy film directed by Robert Altman and produced by Paramount Pictures and Walt Disney Productions. It is based on the E.C. Seegore's Popeye comic character. The script was written by Jules Pfeiffer and stars the late Robin Williams as Popeye, the Sailor Man, and the great Shelley Duvall as Olive Oyl. Its story follows Popeye's adventures as he arrives in the town of Sweet Haven. Now, the film premiered December 6th, 1980 in Los Angeles, California, and opened in the rest of the United States the following week. Distributed by Paramount with Disney handling international distribution through Buena Vista International, it grossed $6.3 million in its opening weekend and $49.8 million worldwide against a budget of $20 million. And just keep in mind, this was 1980 when that was a lot of money. It received negative reviews from critics when it was first released, but has received improved reviews over time. It's a great movie. I think it was a misunderstood movie, and critics don't always know what what they're talking about.
They're always high. They always think they're higher than everyone else, making their criticisms. Oh boy, critics.
But since the dawn of the internet, anyone can be a fucking critic anyways. Principal photography commenced January 23rd of 1980, and the film was shot in Malta. The elaborate Sweet Haven set was constructed beyond what was needed for filming, adding to the cost and complexity of the production, along with a recording studio, editing facilities, and other buildings, including living quarters. The film wrapped June 19th of 1980, 3 weeks over schedule due to bad weather. The set is a popular tourist attraction known as Popeye Village. Robin Williams referred to this set as Stalag Altman. Stalag. So noted were other production problems. Evans insisted that the screenplay reflects the comic strip Popeye, you think, and not the distorted cartoon version. Gotcha. Pfeiffer's script went through several rewrites and expressed concern that too much screen time was being devoted to minor characters. Pfeiffer also disliked Nilsson's songs. They were pretty bad, saying that they were not right for the film. Popeye's original muscle arms, formed of silicone rubber, were difficult for Williams to manipulate and remove after filming, so 2 Italian artisans were brought in to Malta to remake them, and Altman had to juggle his shooting schedule. He also had the cast sing some musical numbers during filming, breaking with the traditional movie musical practice of actors recording the songs in a studio first and lip-syncing. This reduced the sound quality due to difficulties in accurately capturing the voices. Williams re-recorded much of his dialogue due to trouble with his character's mumbling style, partly as a byproduct of talking with a pipe in his mouth. His penchant for ad-libs led to clashes with the director, and
I'll read this. I'll bring it right back to you. Here we go. Oh, ain't that ugly? It's all right. Oh, it's okay. I am. I'm all right. Hey. It's okay. Hey. We're together in this. Mm-hmm. All right. I must trust only, baby. You're a baby. It says here, right there, right.
The final battle involving the octopus was complicated by the mechanical beast malfunction. After the production cost rose beyond $20 million, Paramount ordered Altman to wrap filming and return to California with what he had, so probably why the ending was cut short so briefly. I really didn't need to watch Popeye again. I saw it last night. I've seen it a couple dozen times over the years and also seen it in theaters as a kid. Now I'm trying to decide if my love for the film is nostalgia, Robin Williams, or just the movie as a whole. I think all three combined is an easy solution there. Popeye is technically a musical, I suppose. Most of the songs are terrible, but good. They grow on you, I guess, over the years. This whole movie contradicts itself in quality, and I can't say that about a lot of movies. Maybe Big Trouble in Little China. Both those films are so fucking stupid, and they're wonderful. I love Big Trouble in Little China, and all that I know about movies, I probably shouldn't. I love Popeye. It's a childhood friend. Remains 100% true to the original cartoons, and has Robin Williams, who I miss very dearly. He's a guy who suffered from depression and didn't want anyone else to feel the way he did, so he made them laugh. So I can understand that, because I also suffer from depression and use humor to offset that. And I think a lot of people with depression do. He's one of the few actors and one of the few people I looked up to, and the other would be George Carlin. Popeye is just awesome eye candy, and those sets still stand, and the place is a tourist attraction now. And just watch the film if you haven't, and have fun with it. A lot of it doesn't make sense. It's just an odd movie with weird performances and a fantastic production with awesome sets, props, and costumes. It's visually pleasing, I suppose. It don't make any fucking sense. It's just a fun movie, and just take it at that, and I love it, and I've seen it for years. I've seen it probably 24 times over the years, and it's great. I love it. Here's a movie I can't say I absolutely love, but I probably have seen it as many times as I've seen Popeye. I didn't really have to watch this again either. I watched this one this morning. Masters of the Universe, not a good movie. It has a hint of greatness and what could have been accomplished, especially maybe in the beginning. The budget sank all that. Good old Canon Films. That studio was a disaster. I mean, I think they were okay in the 70s. They made really low budget films and made their money back, but in the 80s, man, that all went to shit. Masters of the Universe, stylized as Masters of the Universe, the motion picture, is a 1987 American superhero film based on the Masters of the Universe franchise by Mattel. It stars Dolph Lundgren, Frank Langella, Perry White from the Superman Returns movie, John Cipher, Chelsea Field, Billy Barty, Courtney Cox, a very young Courtney Cox, and a very terrible actor, Robert Duncan McNeil from Voyager, and Meg Foster. The film follows two teenagers who meet He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe, who travels to Earth, of course, that's the downfall of this movie, with his friends to stop their arch enemy, the evil Skeletor. Skeletor from obtaining a cosmic key that will enable him to take over their home planet of Eternia and the entire universe. Well, the entire universe is at stake, of course. Masters of the Universe was released theatrically in the United States on August 7th of 1987. It was a critical and commercial failure, grossing $17 million worldwide against a budget of $22 million. At the time of release, it was met with negative reviews from film critics, but is now regarded as a cult film. On May 1st of 2024, a second live-action film was announced to be directed by Travis Knight and will be released on June 5th, 2026, starring Dolph Lundgren as... No, I'm just kidding.
And the Masters of the Universe.
I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie. To start with, I had just gotten my driver's license, and this was the first time I was able to drive to the movie theater myself, and my buddy came with me. That may not seem like a big deal to a lot of people out there, but when you're 17 years old, it is a big deal. I also liked the movie, and watching it again, I still enjoy it on a certain level. Yes, the effects have aged. Most of the Earth scenes are stupid. The script is abysmal. The behind-the-scenes shenanigans were just as bad as what we see on the screen. This movie's a total mess. I still love it. Probably more what was happening in my life at the time rather than the movie solely. The movie reminds me of good times in my life, and for that reason, I still love watching it because when I do, I think of those memories. It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie at all. I probably wouldn't recommend it if it was my first viewing today. I do recommend it because it's a cheese fest, but a fun cheese fest. It's just fucking stupid, but it's worth watching.
I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
The film has aged terribly. It was never good in the first place. The script is abysmal. The acting is abysmal. It's a terribly packaged piece of shit. I can't recommend He-Man. It's just not good, and yet I'm still watching the stupid fucking thing after all these years.
Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!"
Here's one I got to kick out. Underdog. I didn't even know this movie existed until like a month or two ago when I started writing the script for this video. Underdog is a 2007 American live-action animated superhero comedy film based on W. Watts Bigger's Chet Stover and Joe Harris's 1960 animated television series, Underdog.
Look, up in the sky. It's a plane. It's a bird.
It's a frog.
A frog?
Underdog first took shape on my drawing board in 1963. For the very first pencil sketches, he looked very much the way he does today. Same baggy suit, the oversized cape, the same innocent expression.
It's Underdog, which in turn is a spoof of DC Comics character Superman, created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, I should say, directed by Frederick Du Chow. The film stars Jim Belushi, Peter Dinklage, John Slattery, and Patrick Warburton, with the voice talents of Jason Lee, Amy Adams, and Brad Garrett.
I modeled Sweet Polly Purebred, who was his leading lady, after Marilyn Monroe. I, like everybody else in the world, was in love with Marilyn Monroe at that time. I thought she was marvelous. So she has the white hair, the soft voice, the vulnerability.
Unlike the TV series, the Underdog character is portrayed as a regular dog. Underdog / Shoeshine, voiced by Jason Lee, was played by a lemon beagle named Leo, sporting a red sweater and a blue cape. And the film grossed $65.3 million worldwide and received generally negative reviews from critics. What do they know? The only thing I knew of this film is that it existed. I wasn't even sure if it was live action or CGI animated or 2D animated. It has a great cast. How bad could it be? I was pretty happy when the Disney logo came up because it gave this movie a glimmer of hope for me. This movie did practically what all the others did. It was based on the beginning of the original show, which is I always enjoyed, so they showed little cartoon segments in the beginning for most of these. I came close to loving this movie. I think it's the best one out of the bunch that I've seen. Josie and the Pussycats, probably a close second. The fact it was a dog's movie already gave it extra points. It had a great cast. I love Jason Lee as the voice of Underdog. Kind of gave me that My Name is Earl vibe. There were a lot of cheesy dog references in this thing that I internally chuckled at. Kids of all ages will have fun with this film. Like the others, it's not a fantastic movie. It was fun to check out. Just some easygoing, mindless fun for an hour or so. With the credits, the movie clocked in around 70 minutes, and that was plenty. Just enough time to not overstay its welcome. I recommend it. I had fun with it.
Kids just loved him. They all knew his theme song and the phrase, "There's no need to fear."
Underdog is here.
And then a movie I absolutely did not have fun with and I totally despise is Inspector Gadget. Oh my god, I hate this fucking movie. Sorry, guys. Inspector Gadget is a 1990 American superhero comedy film directed by David Kellogg and written by Carrie Auren and Zach Penn from a story by Auren and Donna Olson. Sorry I butchered names. Loosely based on the 1980s animated television series of the same name, the film stars Matthew Broderick as the title character. Such a miscast. Such a miscast. Rupert Everett as Dr. Claw, also miscast. Michelle Trachtenberg as Penny, I guess miscast. And Dabney Coleman as Chief Quimby. I don't even know if that's a character in the show. I guess so, because it says 5 new characters were introduced. Dr. Brenda Bradford, played by Jolie Fisher. Sykes, played by Michael G. Haggerty. Kramer, played by Andy Dick, and he's a dick, all right. Mayor Wilson, played by Sherry Ottery, and the Gadget Mobile, voiced by D.L. Humphrey. Sure. The film tells the origin story of Inspector Gadget as he attempts to foil an evil plot concocted by the series villain, Dr. Claw. It was filmed in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Los Angeles, California, with a castle-like main tower of Pittsburgh PPG Place playing the central role. Produced by Caravan Pictures and Dick Entertainment, which was owned by Walt Disney at the time of production, the film was released theatrically by Walt Disney Pictures on July 23rd of 1999. It was the last film produced by Caravan Pictures, that's probably why, before the company merged into Spyglass Entertainment. Oh, okay. It was also dedicated to the memory of production designer Michael White, who died on January 19th of 1999 in Los Angeles during production of the film at age 36. The film had a worldwide gross of $134 million against a $90 million budget, while also receiving negative reviews from critics who gave some praise towards the acting. Did I just read that right? But criticized the screenplay, visual effects, editing, humor, and lack of faithfulness to the source material. And the big bitch, I guess, was Dr. Claw showing his face. It lost the studio approximately $30 million. It was followed by a 2003 direct-to-video sequel, Inspector Gadget 2, though only D.L. Hawley reprised his role as the voice of the Gadget Mobile. I was never a big fan of the cartoon show. A friend of mine used to watch this and Danger Mouse. I didn't care for either of them. I'd watch them when I was over my buddies, and that was the extent of it. I've never seen the movie before, and as mentioned, there's a sequel with one of the guys from Third Rock from the Sun, and I'll never see that movie in my existence on this planet ever, ever, ever. Perhaps I'll catch it in the afterlife. Wouldn't that be cool? If that's what happened in the afterlife, you spent infinity catching up on movies you've never seen. I mean, that makes about as much sense as anything else about the afterlife I've heard about. So we'll go with my vision of death and beyond, and we watch movies we never seen in the living space. We watch it when we're dead. Inspector Gadget is a loud and obnoxious movie. I don't know why studios insist on making kids' movies loud and stupid. Kids aren't stupid. My favorite movies as a kid weren't those overly loudly obnoxious films. I don't even think we had a lot of them. We didn't have a lot of films that blew out our eardrums. I can remember Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Bambi, even Star Wars. They were loud at certain times. Not the whole movie. I hated this movie. It doesn't have any likable characters beyond Gadget's dog. It's slapstick stupid. Matthew Broderick is beyond miscast. Predictable as hell. I knew once it started the first scene was him dreaming. And I knew the dog licking his face was going to wake him up as soon as I saw the dog in the dream. So stupid. So predictable. And Andy Dick. Seriously, anything with Andy Dick in it is stupid. Maybe not the sitcom he was in, but everything else. If Andy Dick's in it, I know it's going to be terrible. I mean, the guy's name is Andy Dick. And he is a dick, so I can't stand that guy. The whole movie's a piece of shit. I hated it. Absolutely don't recommend it. I know a lot of people like it, but too bad. I don't. All right, I'm going to finish up with Fat Albert, which I haven't seen yet, so I'm going to cut here and be right back. And we're back. The power of editing. Well, let's start off by saying Fat Albert is a 2004 American live-action animated comedy film based on the 1972 Filmation animated television series Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, created by Bill Cosby before he started drugging and raping women. Kenan Thompson stars as the title character. Fat Albert transforms the cartoon characters into three-dimensional humans who have to come to grips with the difference that exists between their world and the real world. The film acts as a continuation continuation of the series. Fat Albert and the gang leave their 1972 to 75 cartoon world and enter the 2000s real world to help a teenage girl, Doris Robertson, played by Kyla Pratt, deal with challenges of being unpopular. The film was released on December 25th of 2004 to generally negative reviews and grossed $48 million against a $45 million budget. Trust me when I say I didn't even remotely plan on liking this movie. This is yet another fish out of water type film. I should say fishes out of water from a cartoon entering the real world through a television set. Why not? Use your imagination to why it could happen. What's kind of cringy with no fault of the filmmakers at all is Bill Cosby. He's in the film. Here's a guy I've followed since I was a kid. Listened to his records. I watched him on Captain Kangaroo time and time again. A pudding pop commercial would air, followed by his 80s television show, which I liked and watched. And today I asked myself while watching this movie, was this guy always a piece of shit? Or was he empowered over time and got away with it so much it didn't faze him? And I'm watching the end of this movie with all the people he based his Fat Albert characters on, and I wonder what they think of their childhood friend. The selfishness of others is off the charts. How does someone become a raper of women, a murderer, an embezzler, a bank robber, a child molester? How does the soul break so much that these actions aren't a burden to live with? Fuck Bill Cosby. Now that I have that out of my system, I really like this movie beyond having to see Bill Cosby in it. I feel it was really well done and worth a look, especially if you were a fan of the cartoon show initially. The embodiment of the cartoon characters in form of human characters were perfectly portrayed with this cast. I have no idea who most of these actors are, but they all did a fantastic job, and I'm surprised as shit how much I love this movie. I actually and genuinely liked this movie. I thought it was fun. It was a fun time to see these characters in live action, and they played so much like their cartoon counterparts. It was good. I had a really good time watching it. Again, it's not a great movie. Don't think it's going to be, award-winning movie or anything like that, but if you enjoyed the old cartoon, you're going to enjoy this. And I think it was well done for what it was, so I would recommend it highly. All right, gals and guys, this is the end of this time out as far as cartoons that were made into movies, and I'll have some more coming up. I got some different ideas for these, and I have fun doing them, so I hope you have fun listening to them, and I'll catch you later. Thanks, guys and gals. If you could please subscribe as always. Hit the thumb for updates. Hit the bell for updates. Thumbs up, thumbs down, and share this if you could. And that's it, gals and guys. I appreciate you as always. I think I said that already, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.